It's time for the Hockey Writers Grindline, a weekly show covering everything Detroit Red Wings. Brought to you by our own iconic top line of Wings writers. Sit back and enjoy The Grind.
Welcome to the Hockey Writers Grindline, brought to you by the Morning Skate, the Hockey Writers morning newsletter that is jam-packed with the best hockey stuff on the planet. Sign up today at morningskate.io for free delivery to your inbox Monday through Friday. Also, drop us a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay on top of all of the best Hockey Writers content. I'm your host, Kyle Knopp, and today I'm joined by Devin Little, Logan Horn, and Delaney Reimer. How are all of you, oh my gosh, today on this eve of our opening night of the season?
Doing good. Very excited.
Yeah, very excited.
We are recording a special Thursday night episode so we can all enjoy the festivities of the red carpet tomorrow in Detroit, or I believe at least half of us are. So we're coming at you before the game, so let's get on with it. That's going to be my one good and one bad for the week, really, is we're recording this on Thursday instead of Friday, so we still don't have any fresh Red Wings news for you. That's kind of my bad. My good is Red Wings hockey season is here. By the time you are watching this, there will be one game under their belt, so very exciting. And then my other bad, I just have to throw it out there. It's Red Wing adjacent. Prayers and thoughts to Peter Mrazek. He has to be the punching bag of the Chicago Blackhawks this year. And if there's any indication after that first game, my man's in for a long season. Delaney, it's been a while since we've seen you, so I want to come over to you first. How you doing? And what are your one good, one bad for the week?
I'm doing okay. My one bad for the week, my voice is sounding a little different than usual. Having some allergies this week, but all good otherwise.
Well, definitely. We're still happy to have you with us.
Yeah, always happy to be here. And then one good, get to be back in Detroit at Little Caesars Arena tomorrow with lots of other friendly faces from across Red Wings world. So that'll be great. Missed everybody.
That's very exciting. Very, very jealous, but happy for you that you get to be in Detroit for that. Devin, coming over to you. One good, one bad. Are you joining Delaney in Detroit?
I'm not joining Delaney, but I am going to the home opener for the Grand Rapids Griffins, and I'm very excited about that. My one good, and maybe some might look at this as a one bad, but my one good is that Simon Edvinsson is a Grand Rapids Griffin, and I get to go watch him make his pro debut. Sebastian Costa too. While we're at it, he's a pro this year. Super excited for him. My one bad is going to be Pius Suter and Philip Zadina being healthy scratches for the opening night game against the Montreal Canadiens. Those are two guys we talked about being make it or break it guys this year. So for them to be healthy scratches on game one, that is not off to a good start. But I will say, don't read too much into that. I think the bottom six is going to be kind of a fluid situation in the early going here. So even though they're not playing game one, they could very well play in game two.
Yes. And we'll talk about it more in a little bit, but lots of hockey in the first opening couple of nights of the young season. So there's a chance that it could just be flip of the coin. They had to sit out the first game, but they're playing the second. And then it could be whoever performs well is playing that third. But you're absolutely right. We were talking about them all summer, and here we are game one, and they are not in the lineup. So we'll see. That's not good omens for them. Logan, over to you. You are like me and not in the state of Michigan, so you will not be able to attend. So let's hear what your one good and one bad are instead.
My bad, I couldn't really come up with one because I'm just enjoying that hockey's back.
Yeah.
But the closest I have is that Red Wings fans have to wait all the way till Friday, even though most teams started Tuesday, Wednesday. It's kind of a bummer, but it's
Nashville
okay.
played their third game tonight, right? I mean,
Yeah,
granted they were in Prague, last week, but still.
Yeah, that'd be my bad. My good is actually the same as Devin's, and that's that Simon Edvinsson is in Grand Rapids. Mine's for a different reason. I don't get to watch him because he's actually Maybe they will come to Calgary. I don't know. Maybe I'll check
yeah.
that out. But because I'm a big fan of that choice, honestly. He could have made the NHL right away. He would have been okay. I'm a fan of the choice. Who knows how long it'll last? It could be like 2 weeks, literally. Who knows? But that's my good. I think it's a good call. I like it.
Well, Logan, you are setting the stage for a beautiful transition, my friend. Thank you for that assist. Let's talk the opening day roster, and I'm going to come right back to you. So, what are your main takeaways from this opening night roster, Logan?
Yeah, so like Devin said, the bottom six is kind of all over the place. We've seen a lot of reports from practices that about the only position in the bottom six that's consistent and that is somewhat locked in is Michael Rasmussen as the third line center. Everyone else is kind of just fighting for a spot, and that doesn't just include the guys on the opening night lineup or Zadina and Suter, who are kind of the extras, the healthy scratches, like Giovanni Smith, Jonathan Berggren. Like those guys aren't far behind, and we'll just kind of figure out how that goes, which is a good thing. That depth is important. That's something that they haven't had in forever. So it's kind of a bummer seeing someone like Zadina, who we're hoping to watch play a ton this year and be very improved. Not that he's out for the whole year or something, but it's kind of sad to see him on the outside looking in for the opening night. But I mean, you can't help but be excited to watch Soderblom. I think that's just the biggest surprise of Red Wings training camp and preseason, probably. Edvinsson, it was like kind of, maybe 75-25 leaning towards NHL for most people. But Soderblom, I don't know that many people other than Delaney that were calling for him to make the NHL right out of training camp.
True.
So that's a good story. He's also just wicked fun to watch. Like he's great. So that's about it for me.
Devin, I want to get your thoughts on this opening day roster. Big surprises, any disappointments? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, like Logan said, I think the story very much is Elmer Soderblom making the NHL roster and sticking there too. I think a lot of people were making much ado about nothing with, he could still be sent back to the AHL, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't mean he made it. Yeah, but they also took a bunch of pictures of him for promotional things. When they do stuff like that, he's in the roster. I don't, they're not out to piss off the fans. So he made the roster. He's going to play, and he's going to play a lot. And if he doesn't play a lot, he'll be in Grand Rapids, and I'll get to watch him. But besides that, yeah, exactly, right. I think the big takeaway for me is that this is a team that I feel like the opening night roster is accounting for the fact that there are key guys missing off the hop. And by that, I mean Jake Wallman. By that, I mean Mark Pysyk. By that, I mean Robbie Fabry. I think specifically with Wallman coming back within the next month, I think that, with Edvinsson not being in Detroit, excuse me, I think Wallman has a clear path to kind of assume the role he was in towards the end of last season. And I think that, this kind of just allows them to take their time with Edvinsson. It allows them to take their time with Berggren. It allows them to take their time with, all of their prospects. Like Logan said, this team has depth like it hasn't had in quite some time. And yeah, it sucks because you've got guys like Suter and Zadina on the outside looking in. But if that's the situation you're in, where guys like Suter and Zadina are on the outside looking in, that means you've got some good players. You've got depth, and that's what this team, like I said, hasn't had in a while. So it's exciting to see guys like Soderblom make the team. It's exciting to see all the new guys. This season's going to be a lot of fun. And I think that with all the guys playing in Grand Rapids to start the season, I think that the roster is far from set in stone. I think that we'll be seeing a lot of fresh faces as the season progresses.
Yeah, a lot of good points there, Devin. Absolutely. Delaney, want to come over to you and get your thoughts on this opening day roster. What was your biggest takeaway from what Detroit announced going in up against the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, everyone noticed the no Suter and Zadina, and a lot of people have very mixed feelings about that. But I think just because they're out this first game doesn't mean that they're toast and they're not going to get a chance. That's not at all what that means. In the things that Lalonde has been saying about Zadina after he practiced today, everything seemed positive and seemed like, he's being very good about this. He's being a good team player, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all good to hear. And that it's not just like, oh yeah, no, he just sucks. We're just going to toss him for this one. Because that's not the case with either of them. And then I have here in my notes in front of me, all caps, very tall third line.
Yes. Yes.
That speaks for itself. And I'm very excited to see them make everyone else look very, very, very short. That'll be kind of comical to see, especially looking at screenshots of broadcasts later after the game and just really being able to see the side by side. It's going to be very comical. And then I saw a lot of discourse on Twitter earlier from some people about Adam Ernie making it over Suter and Zadina, but what you gonna do about it? He's the veteran, so I guess he gets the nod, but I don't think it's that deep. People were taking it a little too hard, but it'll all work out. As Devin said, nothing is set in stone at all. It's very fluid, and it's we're probably going to see there's 3 or 4 games right at the start of the season.
3 games in 4 days. Yep.
4 days.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think we're going to see a semi-different roster all 3 of those games. I would be surprised if.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd be surprised if it was the same thing on game 2 or game 3, because new coach still figuring things out. So it's going to change a lot. It doesn't mean too much right now, but I'm excited to see Soderblom play, obviously. And I can now say that I have a very good set in stone I was right moment. I wrote a Red Wings Soderblom is ready for NHL action article a couple months ago, and
there you have it. There you have it.
Wasn't 100% certain, but
yeah, those are excellent points, Delaney. And we had a show a while back where I believe it was one of the off the rush segments. We asked how many rookies would make their NHL debut this year with the team, and I think we were up kind of in that like 6 to 8 range. I think we said maybe even a little more. But there's a chance, or maybe not. Make their Red Wing debut, I should say, maybe not just their NHL debut. But either way. For what it's worth, my biggest takeaway from this opening night roster is this team is going to be competitive.
Yes.
Lalonde's going to come out and he's going to find the combination that works, and he's going to put out a team every night that's going to be in your face and try and direct the style of play. And that's what's been lacking in Detroit for a few seasons. And so I'm very excited about that. I think he kind of already is proving it with Suter and Zadina out, that if you're not up to our standards, you're not going to play. Like, we have guys that can be brought up. We have guys that can fill in those roles that maybe they didn't have the last couple of years, and so this is going to be a very, very competitive team, which is going to be a very fun season to watch. So that's my biggest takeaway from this opening night roster. I'm excited to watch this game tomorrow night, last night for all those that are watching us now. But yeah, it's going to be a good season, I think. All right. You all mentioned him, so let's go back and talk about him. Elmer Soderblom is in Detroit to stay. And Delaney, you wrote it months ago. So I'm going to start with you. Do you think this is his spot for the year, a la Bergeron last year? Or not Bergeron. I was thinking Bergeron. A la Raymond last year? Or is he going to get sent back to Grand Rapids at some point? That was a horrible slip there.
Close. No. But my gut says he's going to stay at least for a solid stretch at the start of the season, as players are coming back from injuries and getting caught back up to speed. You're not just going to throw someone fresh off of an injury right back into it, obviously. So, and we've still got a couple of people missing up there in the front lines. So
Yeah.
he's going to be there for at least a solid chunk, if not the whole season. I can pretty much say that very confidently at this point. But then again, nothing is set in stone with the roster. And it's not like he would be going down to a terrible place if he went to Grand Rapids, because Grand Rapids is going to be a tank this year.
Yes.
And he'd be playing with plenty of other great players. So it's not like he would just be going to like bumping him down to juniors or something like that. So either way would be fine. But obviously we want him to stay. He's fun to watch, but he's going to be there for a while, a solid stretch until injuries are caught up. And then by then he's probably going to have earned his spot a little bit more than he already has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. There's still guys missing up front that could push them back down into Grand Rapids. So you never know. Logan, coming over to you. Do you think Soderblom is going to be in Detroit to stay, or will he be sent back to Grand Rapids?
It's tough. I don't think he's there to stay. I think he probably is in the most precarious spot of anyone in the bottom six, because management has shown they're more than willing to send someone with the pedigree of Simon Edvinsson down to the AHL because they think it's what's best for him. So they're not going to keep Soderblom longer than they think he's benefiting from the NHL. If they think, okay, he's not getting very many minutes because he's had a little bit of trouble with some of these adjustments, let's just go let him play in Grand Rapids and get some good minutes. I think it's really likely that they do that. Him and Veleno are probably the players that's the most likely option for. Maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe he sticks it out, because Lalone has said that he wants to see Soderblom work on his play away from the puck, his defensive play a little bit. But that's the exact same thing he said about Zadina, and Zadina's not on the third line, if you can even call it that. It's bottom six, whatever. So, maybe he is a little higher up in the pecking order than I thought, than it seems. And he does stick it out. I wouldn't be surprised at this point, because I didn't expect him to even get here, but I'm going to say no, he's not going to stick it out for the whole year.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, how much weight do you carry with Lalonde's words there when it's said about one player and then said about the exact same other player that in the same situation, but yet under a different type of microscope, shall we say? So good points there, Logan. Devin, I will give you the next word on this. What do you think will happen to Soderblom? Is he going to come live with you as a billet? Is he going to get sent back to Grand Rapids?
Well, if he does move in with me, I'm gonna have to raise my ceiling a little bit.
Ceilings,
but, yeah. Anyways, it's gonna be up to him ultimately, right? I think that he's a very unique situation for multiple reasons. Obviously, he's waiver exempt. He's a prospect that you want to be playing meaningful minutes, all the stuff that goes in with that. But he's also a unicorn, right? He's this mountain. He's 6'8", 250, and he does all the things that he does that made Delaney and many others fall in love with him. There is nobody else on this team who can provide what Elmer Soderblom can. So I think that, like I said, it's going to be up to him. If he shows that he belongs, I don't think they're sending him back, because just what he can provide that nobody else can. But if there is, maybe a little bit of a up and down thing for him where he maybe needs to just, iron some things out, then yeah, absolutely. Like Logan said, if they sent Simon Edvinsson down, they'll send Elmer Soderblom down. It just ultimately depends on, if they can make moves elsewhere to make room for guys like Fabry when he returns, and, make room for Zadina, because I assume they signed into a 3-year contract to play him and not sit him in the press box.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he will stay, and that's more just me believing in him as a prospect and believing that there's a reason why he's on this roster to start. If they were just going to kind of yo-yo him, I think they would have just kind of
Start
aired
him
with
down, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like let him blow the doors off the hinges in Grand Rapids and then bring him up. No, he's in Detroit right now. So I
Yeah.
think he's got every opportunity to stay there, and it's going to be up to him to stay there, to prove that he needs to stay there.
Absolutely. Do you hear that, Elmer? It's up to you. And if you do end up in Grand Rapids, there's a key under the mat. So go ahead and drop your stuff at
Absolutely.
Devin's. All right. So I mean, I don't want to make the same mistake I made last year when we were talking about Lucas Raymond in this situation. And we kept saying, oh, it's only for a month. Oh, it's only for a month. And there he is, 72 plus games or something. Maybe I don't even know. He might've got the full season, but he was up the whole year. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It was 82. Yeah. So I think Soderblom's there to stay. I honestly thought it was going to be Bergeron that we were going to be talking about in this role.
Me too.
And which is obviously why he was on my brain when I started this whole segment, and why that we do not edit anything out here on the Hockey Writers unless it's really bad. Yeah, so I'm not going to make that mistake. I'm saying Soderblom's up for the whole season. And like you said, Devin, he is a unicorn. He's one of those guys that is going to provide size. He's going to provide strength. He's got such silky hands and tight. The guy is just amazing, and he's so young, and I think they can do so much learning at that NHL level, especially on that third line, and maybe even bump him up maybe into the second line at times. But I just don't see them unless he has an extremely bad year, but I don't think that's going to happen, and I don't see him getting sent down. So I'm saying up all year is where I'm going to end on that one.
I don't have to buy a new couch. Got it.
Maybe just to be safe.
Fair enough.
Your dog will thank you. No. All right. Well, the Red Wings are playing 3 games in 4 days to start the season, as we have mentioned many times. So I want to get each of your opinions on what they need to do to start their season off on the right foot. So, Devin, going to start with you. What do the Red Wings need to do in their 3 games in the first 4 days to start their season off on the right foot?
Well, Delaney kind of said it earlier. I think that they have there's a big time advantage to having the kind of depth that they have, and that advantage is that they can rotate guys in and out of the lineup and not have to worry about 3 games in 4 days and how it can tax players. Obviously it's early going, and key players are going to play regardless, but I think this is going to give the coaching staff an opportunity to get a look at everybody and get a look at them in different scenarios and see how guys like Soderblom handle. It's one thing to play 1 NHL game. It's another thing to play 3 NHL games in 4 days. That's a lot, especially like right off the hop. So I think that's going to be a big thing for him to see if he can kind of show he belongs just in this first stretch here. But then also, it's like I said, it gives the team an opportunity to give a look to Zadina, get Suter back in the lineup, move guys in and out, and kind of extend their preseason sort of. I don't think things are set in stone yet, and this gives them opportunity to do that. So what do they have to do to be successful in these 3 games in 4 days? Just stick to what they've been learning in training camp, right? Like Lalonde's been implementing his systems, kind of building incrementally, and I think that as long as they're maintaining their progress, because they have shown progress in the early going here, they'll be fine. This isn't a team that's necessarily tracking their wins this year. Obviously they want to win. They want to win games this year, but I don't think that they that this isn't a team that looks at 3 games in 4 days and goes, oh man, we got to win every single game. They just got to show that they're doing what they need to be doing, and so as long as they're in all 3 of these games and they don't look like they're out of gas already, because that would be embarrassing, I think they'll be fine. And I think that having that depth, like I said, will allow them to look fine, even though they're playing 3 games in what is that 90 or 120 hours or whatever.
96.
98. Yeah, 96. That's why I write instead of do math.
There's a lot that is going to happen over the next couple of days. And, Delaney, you said it first, and Devin requoted you. Now I'll give you a chance to retort. So in your mind, what do they have to do to start their season off right? And for everyone at home that may have forgotten, they played the Canadiens tomorrow night for us. Then they're at the Devils tonight, Saturday, as you're watching this. And then they have the Kings back home on Monday. So what do they need to do against these three teams to start their season off on the right foot?
This one is kind of sad, but under no circumstances allow 5 or more goals. That's just a morale thing, as is they should at least win one of them, get a semi-positive note. Like, you want the young guys to be excited. Like, yeah, we won 1 out of those 3. That's pretty decent. And just also, you don't want to start off losing 3 games in 4 days. That's just ugly, and no one wants that. And that this team doesn't need that. And as Devin was saying, just continue the work from the preseason. And like, they learned a lot in the preseason. That's what it's there for. So they need to remember that going into the season, and not just like, oh, it's regular season, time to forget everything that we were just doing those last couple of weeks because it was preseason and doesn't count. Mm-hmm. It might not count, but it's learning, and that counts. And just if everyone keeps up what they were doing in the preseason and they just pull it all together and come out hot at the start of the season, even if they do lose a few of those games, as long as they were good losses and not just, oh dear, that was abysmal, and I turned my TV off partway through it because I was in pain looking at it. As long as it's like a loss you can be okay with to an extent, that's progress from last year, because there were a lot of unexcusable ones last year, and just, you don't want one of those in the first 3, especially because they're within 4 days of each other.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, getting off on the right foot and building some sort of momentum, even if it's just silver linings here and there in close games, will be huge. But I think getting at least 1 win will be big. The Kings are a rebuilding team. The Devils are a rebuilding team. The Canadiens are a rebuilding team in a sense still. They need to be, if they're out of their rebuild, which a lot of Red Wings fans hopes they are, they need to be proving that by winning some of these games against these teams. All right, Logan, I'll give you the last word on this. 3 games, 4 days. What do the Red Wings need to do to start the season off right?
I think they need to show commitment to their new coach, to all the new players, like to the team in general. There's a lot for them to learn and implement. It's not going to go perfectly. All these new systems, like Devin and Delaney were alluding to, there's a lot going on. All I need from these 3 games, you can lose all of them, and I will be okay as long as they look different.
Yeah.
If the team looks different on the ice, if they're organized differently, because hot take, the Blashill era wasn't very good.
Scorching.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know, right? Quote me on it. I just need to know it's different this time. It doesn't have to equal like a 99-point season in the playoffs. I can't be hurt by the same team trying the same things and failing. So just look a little different. Jeff Blashill.
Some people watching this at home might be like, man, Logan already needs a hug, depending on how Friday night goes.
That's right. We've been so optimistic.
Yeah.
We've been so optimistic, but you guys have not thought about the fact that maybe last night's game didn't go so well, and I know somehow.
Touche.
Anyway, I just want to see this team look different. They're going to fail, but I want to see the penalty kill, trying different things, working in different ways. The goaltenders are going to give them a chance because they have a legit tandem, and 3 games in 4 days actually isn't that bad when you trust both of your goalies.
Yeah.
So just team defense, just figure something out a little differently. I just want to see something new. That's what it takes for me. Start the year off well, following your coach's lead, listening to him, and showing that you learned in preseason.
Goalie thing is key.
Yeah, goalie thing is key. Great points there, Logan. All right, well, that's going to lead us to our first rush of the new season. So, as you know, quick answers on these, and these are going to be kind of fun because the viewers are going to know the answers right away. So, let's start with Delaney. Who scores the first goal of the season, or who scored the first goal of the season?
Who scored?
Okay. I was thinking about this earlier, and I was gonna say, oh, we can call this the point and laugh at them because they were wrong segment.
I like it.
I'll go Varna. Varna.
Okay. Yep. Logan, first goal of the season.
I'm going to go more specific than you asked. Tyler Bertuzzi on the power play.
Ooh. Okay. I like it. Devin?
Well, I'm going to go with one of the new guys. I will say Dominic Kubalik.
Ooh. All right. I'm going to go. I was trying to decide how off the wall I wanted to go. But I'm going to say Soderblom gets the first one. I was going to say.
You imagine the crowd at LCA.
Oh man.
I was going to say Cider, like a random Cider goal to start the season off would be perfect. Because he only gets like 5 a year. But yeah, that would be awesome. But no.
Now watch it be Ben.
Yeah, that's.
It's going to be Gus Lindstrom. That's who it's going to be.
It's going to be the person that none of us even remembered.
Robert Haig.
Adam Ernie. The journey continues.
That would break Twitter. Twitter would collapse.
It sure would.
Hopefully, we have covered one of the names that scored last night.
All
right. It'll probably be Larkin. All right. Logan, starting with you first. Who takes the first penalty or took the first penalty?
Oh, man. Ben Sherratt. First shift.
Off the puck drop.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, maybe it's a fight off the drop.
It's Montreal.
That's true. It's true.
Bad blood, maybe.
David Perron.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. Delaney?
Tyler Bertuzzi.
I'm gonna go Sherratt with a over the glass penalty.
Okay.
It won't be. It might not be that early, but I think it will be kind of early. Okay, we're gonna take a breath and reset the show. This is the Grind Line. I am Kyle Knopp here with Devin Little, Delaney Reimer, and Logan Horn, and we are talking Red Wings hockey. Before we get back into it, this show is brought to you by the Sports Fan Side Hustle, a new digital course that teaches passionate sports fans how to make a lucrative side income off of their love of the game. Get off the sidelines and into the game with a course that will teach you more than 14 different and easy to start methods. Any sports fan, even the ones with little to no experience in writing, podcasting, video production, collectibles, or marketing, can use to make a steady part-time or even full-time income. All you need is the internet, a computer, a passion for sports, and a few hours a week. Go to sportsidehustle.com to get an absolutely free startup guide that will explain 4 keys to unlocking this income opportunity. Again, that's sportsidehustle.com and get started today. All right, back to the grind. We are going to talk about the roster being set and who we think our first call-ups are. So, starting with Logan, who's going to be the first call-up at forward?
Ooh, I think I'm going to change my answer to Giovanni Smith.
Ooh.
I think he wasn't that far off of the roster anyway. And if you're going by the like strict definition of the like sandpaper grit player, whatever, you've got Perron, you've got Bertuzzi, I don't know, Sherratt, but if someone else has a mean streak that shows up, then that helps. But if they feel like they're getting pushed around a little too much, or some guys are taking some cheap shots and not getting, no one's taking exception, I wouldn't be surprised to see him called up. I think he led the team in penalty minutes last year, or at least he was close with very few games. So he's good for it. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him be the first call up on forward.
I like that call up, and I would be one to second that, Logan. And you saw it the other night in the, I think, final preseason game or last to final one, but he stepped up and answered the bell. And, not many guys are doing that. And he's the type of guy that will happily fill that role. So I'm going to go a second person giving a vote for Giovanni Smith. So Devin, who's going to be your first call up at forward?
I'm going to make it 3. I'm going to say Giovanni Smith too. And the biggest reason besides what Giovanni Smith offers is that for it to be someone like Berggren, who is kind of the other kind of obvious one here, a top 9 spot has to be open. And we're already talking about how Pius Suter and Philip Zadina are not on the opening night roster. So if a top 9 spot opens up, guess who's going into it? Not Berggren, Zadina or Suter. So I think Smith just kind of has a natural way up.
Absolutely. Delaney. Roster sets. Oh, we got to call someone up at forward. Who's your first call?
Since he was pretty much just right on the outskirts of the roster, I'm going to have to make it a unanimous for Giovanni Smith because he was on the fringes. So it only makes sense to call up the person who is closest to the fringes of the roster first. Plus, until we see otherwise, he is the best for being an enforcer of sorts on the ice and not really caring about doing so. So everyone needs one. Every team needs one. And thankfully we've got one on speed dial.
The only reason I could see him not coming up in terms of them needing him in Grand Rapids more is just if teams are taking too many liberties with their star guys down there. But I don't think that's going to happen. And I think it's going to be more valuable for him to be up in Detroit than necessarily staying down in Grand Rapids this year. All right, let's move over to defense. And Devin, I'm going to come to you first. Who is your first call up? And this, I'm assuming, is going to be unanimous again.
I have a feeling you're right about that. Simon Edvinsson was really close to the roster. He obviously was sent down, but I think he was really close to getting a roster spot. So as soon as there's an opportunity to bring him back up, I think he's coming back up.
Absolutely. Delaney?
Yep. Simon Edvinsson. He was, again, fringes. He was right there. His finger was on the doorbell. He was knocking on the door. And so he's first in line to come up if need be, or even if they just want him to. So, yeah.
Wholeheartedly agreed. Logan, you're going to stray off the path, my friend, or what's going on there?
Oh, no.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just thinking Sherratt, Mata, Osterley, Haig, Wallman. There's quite a few lefties, and there's not a lot of righties. So my thought is, if there's an injury on the left side, they'll probably first swap in Wallman if he's healthy, or swap in Osterley or Haig before they call up someone from Grand Rapids. But if there's an injury on the right side, I feel like they're calling someone up right away. So my pick is Steven Kampfer, just because he's a veteran right-handed D. He's played 200 games in the NHL, tons in the AHL as well. He just has the experience. I think he's an easy choice for them if they need help on the right side.
That is a good call out there, Logan, and for very, very, very valid reasons. So you have a solid point, and I do have to go. I think it's going to be Edvinsson, but like you said, any type of injury to that right side, and you're almost guaranteed to see Kemp come up. So all right, let's move on over to goaltending now. And, the hope is that there isn't going to be any call-ups, because that means the two goaltenders one of the two are either injured or playing so poorly that they need reserves. But if there were to be a call-up at goaltender, Delaney, who would you call up first?
It's going to have to be Brottstrom, because it's not going to be Kosa. He's too young. They want someone who's done it before and knows that they can at least have a fighting chance to play that third string role if need be. And he's right there in Grand Rapids. So that's what it's going to be.
Absolutely. I agree. I think if there's going to be a call up first, it'll be Brotsum. I think at one point we may see Kosa. Like I said, I think it was last week. I said we were in my on the rush, but I still think we will. But I don't think it's going to be first at goaltender. Logan, any difference in that opinion?
No, I'd agree. I think it's just a little too soon. I mean, we haven't seen Costa play an AHL game yet, so we don't know even how that's going to go. But usually your third string AHL goalie doesn't get any NHL games unless you're the 2017 Golden Knights who had like 6 goalies in the first month or something. Or Michael DiPietro getting called up in Vancouver and just getting rinsed by the Sharks a few years back. It was like 8-0, and he was 19. And it's like, what did you think was going to happen? Poor kid.
Yeah. Logan, we've already given Matt so much work tonight. Why would you go and bring that memory up of the Vancouver Canucks for him? All right, Devin, I'll give you the final word on call-ups. Who do you think's first called up at goaltending?
Yeah, I like the thought that when you're calling up a goalie, they're usually just there to be the backup. You're not calling them up to put them in the net usually. So with that in mind, I do think it's going to be Brottstrom, because I think Okaniora is, that's who you're going to have as the starter. And you want the Griffins to be winning games, so you don't want to remove, in theory, at least their best goalie. And then also that would then, by bringing Brottstrom up, that means Posa has like one of the 2 spots you would expect. So, and also Brottstrom, I think he's at a point where I think at some point you kind of want to see what you've got in him, because Posa's right there, right? So, I think just in general, I think if you're not going to give a look to Brottstrom at some point in the near future, I think that you're going to end up moving on from him. So I do think Brottstrom's going to be the one to call out.
All right, I like it. All right, well, let's move on. Last week was our final season preview for players. This week we got a little twist. Season preview for the whole team. So starting with you, Logan. How do you define a successful season for the Red Wings in 2022-23?
I think a successful year for the Red Wings is just one where the team defense is better and they have less goals against. We've harped on it all summer, but also Steve Yzerman and a bunch of people in the Red Wings organization made it very clear last season that the team defense overall was not good enough. It just wasn't. So if that was their biggest issue, I think a successful year shows growth there. Some key additions: Sherratt, Mata, having another goalie you trust instead of whatever that was last year. Adding Perron and Knopp on the second line, who are both legit two-way players. There's some serious upgrades in personnel. You have to make sure that they fit into the systems and that the existing players buy in and everything improves. But I think that's the biggest thing for them, is just proving that they can play defense with mostly the same players. Just finding a way to improve there. That would be a successful season in my eyes.
Absolutely. Good points there, Logan. Devin, over to you. Define success for the Red Wings in 2022-23.
In simple terms, their numbers, just all of their numbers, get a little bit better. That means their offensive numbers go up a little bit. Their defensive numbers go down a little bit. Their win total goes up a little bit, which then means their point total goes up a little bit. I talked about how I want Dylan Larkin to have a career season, so his point total's got to go up. You want to see Seider and Raymond increase the point totals. I just want to see everything kind of continue to head in the right direction. I think when all is said and done, we're talking about, and we're on our last episode of the Red Wings season. I hope that we're talking about how the Red Wings are going to be a legitimate playoff contender heading into next season because of how well they played this year. So if they can kind of inspire that confidence in us throughout this season, that's a successful season for me. Inspiring
confidence in the fan base. I absolutely love that, Devin. Delaney, I don't know how you can follow that up, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on a successful season this upcoming year for the Detroit Red Wings.
I also don't know how I can follow that up because I said every single thing that I was going to say.
I know, it's already in your notes.
Yeah, pretty much. I would like them to have more goals than goals against. I do have that written down. That would be a pretty decent thing to improve on, I would think. They had 230 goals and then 312 against. So
pretty big.
That's almost 100 goal difference, which is not good. So if they could dial that ratio down a little bit, that would be ideal. And then no more double-digit games.
Amen.
Allowed.
Yes.
None of that. Maybe limit the 5-goal games even. That could also be nice. And then more wins, more goals, better numbers all around the board, like Devin was saying, as long as they look different out there, in different in a better way, to be specific, not just different in a worse way.
Different.
But different in a better way. That'll be good. We all just want to see something to be able to smile about before going to bed every night. Just, that wasn't bad. Instead of,
Yeah, I totally agree. And to me, a successful season in the shortest of terms, in the simplest of words, would to be on fewer highlight packages for other teams in the off-season reels. When they talk about Austin Matthews hitting 60 goals on the season, guess who he was scoring on every single day? That's right, the Detroit Red Wings. So I would like to see a little less of that. And like everyone else said, more competitiveness, numbers going up, and a way to inspire the fan base to know that the light is at the end of the tunnel and it's just around the corner. All right, well, let's finish off on our final rush of the evening. And Devin, I'm going to start with you. Who earns or has earned the first win of the season?
Talking goalie.
Yes.
Alex Nedeljkovic.
Okay. Delaney?
Alex Nedeljkovic.
Logan?
Billy Husso.
Ooh, let's be fun and split it 50-50. I'll go Billy.
There you
Husso.
go.
That'll be fun. Let us know in the comments who you think, or if you already know.
Won last night.
Or cheat it.
If you already know.
So here we go. This is the next question, right? Devin, did they beat the Canadians?
Yes, I think they did, and I think that the crowd at LCA, including Delaney, had a really good night.
Delaney, you have your voice. Enjoy it now, because when you're watching this on Saturday, you won't from tomorrow night. Did they beat the Canadians?
I'm gonna sure hope so, or else it's gonna be a long hour and a half drive home. But I do think they will, as long as it's not a tie with 17 or 14 seconds left, and that's apparently that's their thing now.
To the Toronto Maple Leafs fans, I love it.
Yeah, so we don't choke as much as the Leafs do, so we should be okay.
Logan, did they win last night?
I'm going to go with yes, because it's more fun. It's a better thought to have.
Sending out the positive vibes. Of course they won last night. Since no one's going to hold me accountable down in those comment sections down there. Yeah, they won. I think it was like 10-0. And Soderblom had a hat trick. Verana had a hat trick.
Everyone on the team had
Adam Ernie hat trick.
Everybody
got hat tricks.
Adam Ernie had 6 goals, 4 assists, leading the
Daryl
Rocket
Sittler
Richard.
They're
The
trading
Canadians
Suter and
missed their
Zadina.
flight. It was just the Red
Canadians
Wings
missed
on
their
the
flight.
ice. It was just them. Hence, so many goals, so many points.
It was a great night.
That was great.
Well,
if we haven't-
chaos.
If we didn't convince you with our first plug at the top of the show, make sure to sign up for the Morning Skate, the morning hockey newsletter delivered to your inbox Monday through Friday. That's right. The regular season is back. And if you need to know which arena has the best arena food, we'll help you out because the morning skate is a perfect way to learn that information and start your day. That's it for this edition of The Grind Line. From all of us here at the Hockey Writers and our team here on The Grind, we will see you next week.